What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. A little confusion there for a second. Actually threw me off, Johnny, because I was going to be like, hello, I'm Michael Eisner, and we're here at Epcot Center. But yeah, I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood. I'm already lost, and we just started the show.
Well, you threw me off because I was like, I'm always worried that I'm sweating buckets on camera, and Ashton goes, you mean like Ric Flair? I'm like, that's a very apt.
Because he was always drenched.
Always.
He even made it to the ring.
Always. Him and The Rock, actually, which is actually pretty hilarious. Anyway, how you doing, Ashton?
I'm okay. I'm here. I'm with it.
You want to give people a reminder about Halloween Comic Fest real quick?
Oh my God, I do, because this is the last week of September. This is the last week of September. Okay, so next week will be in October, which means Halloween Comic Fest will officially be taking place. We're doing it over the whole month this year. It's a month-long celebration. So while there won't be any physical comics you can get at your local comic book shop, we'll have tons of digital comics available online, completely free at HalloweenComicFest.com. Thank you for throwing that up, Johnny. So we'll have digital comics available there. We'll also have creator interviews with the creators of those comics. We'll have cosplay interviews. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff. The thing I'm looking forward to the most are probably our March Madness style brackets. We're doing one for Halloween monsters, one for candy. I'll give you a sneak peek. The candy is going to be like fruit flavored candy versus like chocolate flavored candy.
Oh.
Because some people don't think chocolate's candy.
I don't. That doesn't even make any sense to me.
I know.
You said that like a couple of days ago, and I was like, why is that even an argument? I guess people have something to say about everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
People have something to say about everything.
Anyway, yes. Halloween Comic Fest.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting here like stewing, like I can't believe someone would say that.
Yeah, that's so odd.
Also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Halloween Comic Fest. That will be where the brackets are. If you want to vote, if you have lots of angry opinions about candy, take it out on the Halloween Comic Fest page. I got you.
There you go. It's all good. It's totally fine. Actually, here's your reminder to like, share, and subscribe. We are at Previous World, and then Ashton at the end of the show will give you her handle for Free Comic Book Day as well, so you can follow her and hang out with her. Actually, you might as well just tell them now.
It's at Free Comic Book Day, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, with all of your nerd randomness since we're in Free Comic Book Day off season. Yeah. We do general nerd opinions this time of the year.
We do. We had a great one last week from one of your polls, which was actually pretty hilarious. So, actually, we were supposed to kind of follow up on that. Maybe later in the show we'll talk about the last week's poll, because we got some spicy post-show.
I've gone around like polling my friends with that additionally, and just like everyone's like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Actually, no, I think that makes a lot. I think that's a very valid question.
Right.
I think I was about to say, is it Hans Christian Andersen who did Little Mermaid? No, it wasn't. Yes. It was.
Oh, it was?
Right?
Okay. I was going to say no.
Okay. I was like, I bet you, like, he didn't even think about that. No. He didn't even think about, like, the can of worms he was opening up by having that story. So, I'm totally with it. It's a whole thing we'll talk about later. It's okay. Anyway.
By the way, we do have some people commenting already.
That's always nice.
As nice. We do have our good friend Baldo saying, hello, everybody. Hoping everybody is safe in Florida.
Oh, really? For real?
What's going on in Florida? I missed it.
There's a massive hurricane. It's about to be a Category 5 making landfall later today.
Oh, jeez. Got anything else over there, Johnny?
Baldo is also saying, candy.
Same. Retweet.
That's right. Hard to retweet.
So also, for those of you who are wondering, like, why Troy or Ashton are now in like what looks like Epcot, so.
Oh yeah, we didn't even really like address that.
No, I just ran with it.
Yeah. But. So obviously, as you can see, I'm here in my glorious command ship. I hate to tell you guys, but you've actually been in our holodeck the entire time.
Oh.
And it's kind of we were trying to make it look like, you know, your mother's basement, which is like, for quid pro quo. It's, for the nerds will feel right
to make them comfortable with the show.
I know I did. So I apologize, but the holodeck is now on the fritz, so you are now stuck in our geodesic holodeck.
That sucks. I mean, I guess it's all right? I mean,
I'm going to work on trying to get you out of there.
At least we're no longer living the lie.
We're living our truth.
We're living our truth. At least until Johnny tells us something else next week.
Right.
So, but it's all a simulation. It doesn't matter. Either way, I like the new background. I think it's cool. I like it.
I think it's hip. I like the colors.
I like the colors too. That's a nice little touch. Well, I guess a little gender bias, right? I guess when you really think about it.
Oh, Johnny.
Now we got to change Ashton's background, Johnny. All right, so things we saw this week, right? We got to talk about Deadpool 3.
Yes.
We have to talk about Deadpool 3. Look.
I'm ready for the spicy take, because look, listen, guys, listen. Troy hit me on Teams this morning and was like, I was the one that was like, let's talk about the Deadpool thing, and he was like, I'll do it, but you're not gonna like it.
No, absolutely not. I don't know. I'm kind of. Deadpool is one of those characters, just like Harley Quinn. Too much of them goes a long way, and
I can see, yeah.
And I don't know. Deadpool 2 is so obnoxious to me. I like the first one. I thought the first one was cool.
The first one's excellent.
I thought the first one, actually, yes, the first one is excellent, actually. It's a really well-made movie. The second one is just like, oh, God, these are all Hollywood in-jokes with Ryan Reynolds and his friends. It's just, I don't know, it was just too much. It was just too much. All that to say, they released a teaser. Ryan Reynolds apologized for not being there at D23. Right, yeah. And he talked about working, working feverishly on Deadpool 3.
Right.
People are excited. I'm not going to knock people who are excited about it.
Yeah.
But the big thing was that he revealed that Hugh Jackman is going to be in it as Wolverine, which, funny you mentioned Ric Flair.
Uh-oh.
Because I definitely thought yesterday when I saw this, I was like, okay, so we're just going to Ric Flair this whole Wolverine thing. Like Hugh Jackman's just not going to actually retire. He's just going to keep coming back like Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan over and over and over again.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady also.
Facts.
Also. But yeah, I just, I'm sure it's going to be fun. But there wasn't much to talk about. I don't know, did you get a chance to really kind of?
Yeah, they released another video earlier today kind of clarifying the timeline as it pertains to Logan, because I think a lot of people had that same confusion with Hugh Jackman. So this will be kind of like a prequel to Logan, and Logan is set in the future so that it doesn't undermine that, but I do feel like it kind of undercuts the emotional weight of Logan.
You're right, yeah. You also know I'm not a big fan of the Fox men.
Right, I know that.
I'm just not. I just haven't been for a good while now, so I kind of just let it go. I don't want to see these characters anymore. Even with Patrick Stewart and Doctor Strange, I was like, just leave him alone. He looks so tired. He just looked tired. Do you know
what? There was a rumor swirling for quite some time that Taron Egerton would be the new Wolverine, and I thought that actually would have been kind of cool.
That's interesting.
I actually don't dislike Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
I don't either. I think he's a good Wolverine.
I just would like to see something new.
Yeah, and I see people like, oh, he's iconic, so it's great that they're doing it. It's like, only one person has ever played Wolverine.
Right, okay, horse race of one.
Can he really be iconic if he's just the one person? But I don't know. It's just, we'll see, I guess. I did see that they definitely did a bit, like you said today, where they were talking about, they started describing the plot, but then they started playing music over it.
Yeah, it was cute.
And it was cute, but there were people online saying like, well, I'm a lip reader and I can tell you exactly what they said and it sounds awesome. Like, just stop it.
And no one cares. And it's all lies anyway.
It's all lies anyway. There's just one big, just troll. So just have fun with it and just let it go. You know what? I am disappointed, Ashton, that you did not watch Andor, because I literally watched Andor because I knew you were going to watch it.
Listen, I'm disappointed in myself. You don't have to tell me.
I think...
I just didn't get to it is the issue.
I think you would like it.
Okay.
I think you would like it.
Why?
I heard people say it doesn't get good until 3 episodes in. I was like, oh boy, here we go. I kind of sat there and watched it. And yeah, I get why they released 3 episodes, just dropped them immediately, because it is one of those things, just a slow burn. And you know what? Sure. I'm not against the slow burns, because the slow burn to me indicates that you're curating the story, you're curating the experience, you're taking your time to kind of give us things to care about. So I'm totally fine with it. And by the 3rd episode, I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm kind of with this. We were talking about Obi-Wan. I was talking about how Obi-Wan looked. This is definitely the opposite of that.
Okay. All right.
I did not like the way Obi-Wan looked. It did not look Star Wars-y to
Troy's
me.
been sitting on this show for the last year being like, this one looks cheap, this one looks good, I hate the cinematography, this one's fine.
I really have. On the show and off the show. But this one looks like a Star Wars show to me.
Okay,
it feels like a Star Wars show to me. I'm also a sucker for any digital matte paintings.
Ooh.
And they do a little bit with that in some of the flashbacks, which is always fun. And the show seems sincere. I think that's the big takeaway. It seems like a sincere attempt to tell a Star Wars story. I have one very nerdy thing to take issue with, though. And
I think I know what this is.
You know what this is.
I saw your Facebook.
You saw me on Facebook earlier. Which means it's time for...
Let's hear it.
We've got issues. I know Johnny's going to throw up the thing or not. Do we need the thing, Johnny? We got the thing?
I disagree.
So I swear we're going to get to talking about this week's comic soon, but what were you about to say, Johnny? Oh, okay. So in Ender, one of the characters drops the S-bomb. I can't.
Okay,
I
sure.
don't, you know.
Right.
Although you definitely said it last week, and I thought that was hilarious.
Oh my God, did I?
He totally did.
Surprise! I didn't even know that.
But this other thing that's kind of throwing me about this is like, I don't know. There's a whole thing about that. But anyway, I don't know. I feel some kind of way about that, and it's not because it's offensive.
Okay.
It's not because the word is offensive. It's just because in Star Wars they have non-Earth names for just about everything.
Right.
And so I'm like, so this guy's just gonna say. And also, didn't we establish that poodoo is the official word for?
Did we?
In like Star Wars, I thought it was. Was it like? Didn't one of the characters in episode 1 say Bantha Poodoo or something like that?
Sebulba in episode
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
When he
yeah.
actually at the end of the pod race, when he crashes, he says Poodoo.
Right. So I'm like, so this guy's just gonna say.
Oh, okay. I can see how that's an issue.
And so, yeah, go ahead. What you gonna say?
There's some things that are kind of earthly, if you will. Like
Yeah.
Luke and Ben are by no means like Star Wars names, even for the human characters.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. I mean, look, it's all made up. I know, I get it, but I just had this moment where I was like, he's just gonna say it.
You're just gonna throw that out there like
really?
that?
Now I had people online being like, well, they say hell and damn, like, you know, in Empire Strikes Back.
They do.
Han Solo says, I'll see you in hell. But you know,
That's true.
here's the thing, right? That also kind of, I don't know, I feel like that's a little world breaking for me. There's a lot of things in Star
Really?
Wars that are just sort of like, okay, that doesn't really fit. But, so, hear me out, right? The use of the word damn and the use of the word hell, I swear this is turning into a George Carlin bit. The use of the word damn and the use of the word hell, right?
Okay.
Sorry.
I was just watching George Carlin over the weekend.
There you go.
too.
It's perfect, right? But yeah, okay, so the use of the word damn and the use of the word hell, right? All right, think about the context of those words, right? That indicates that earthly religions exist in Star Wars. Damnation, hell is a place in, I was told this earlier, in Norse mythology, right? In Norse religion. So I'm like, but we know for a fact that earthly religions, there's no Christianity in Star Wars.
But doesn't Han say hokey religions and ancient blasters?
He says hokey religions. Well, but we know the Jedi is a religion. The Jedi way is a religion. We know that.
Religions
Plural, right?
Okay, so multiple religions.
So, I mean, there are multiple religions, but...
Can't you safely assume that any religion would have, like, not any religion, I feel like you could safely assume that any variation of a religion probably will have, like, a positive outcome of your afterlife and a negative outcome of your afterlife.
True, right.
Whatever that manifests as.
So, my question is, and this is, you will open up to the chat, does hell exist in the Star Wars mythology?
Oh, I think it does.
You think it does?
I absolutely think it does. Is it called hell? Maybe that's up for debate.
Right.
But I think the concept of hell, whatever that is,
Right.
definitely
Maybe it
exists.
looks like Mustafar or something like that.
Yeah, literally.
So, I don't know. I just had that moment, and I was just sort of like, that's interesting, because this one character dropped an S-bomb at the end of the episode, I was just sort of
Right.
like, you know, I mean, it's also sort of like, okay, it's Star Wars. We don't really need this. But I mean, besides that, it was just sort of like, isn't there another word? They, like, for example, for coffee, right? In Star Wars,
Yeah.
they say the word calf.
Right.
So I'm like, you don't have another word?
I have to believe, okay, and granted, I haven't watched the episodes. Now I'm definitely going to watch them,
Right,
even
right.
if I was going to before, but I have to believe it's done for, like, emphasis, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It totally is. Right, yeah, yeah.
Like, if you pick a random word, like, okay, you know that episode of SpongeBob?
Oh, where they're bleeping out the words every 5 seconds?
Yeah. Like, you can't just pick any, like, random word as a curse word for that, like, world and assume that everyone's going to know that it has the same weight. So
Okay.
you've got to assign a word we already
do.
know has weight.
And it does happen in a moment that is kind of like, okay, the turning point for a lot of characters. So I don't know. I just had a moment when I was watching. I watched the 3rd episode this morning. I was like, okay, interesting. I've never actually heard someone drop a really truthfully like any 4-letter word in Star Wars
Yeah.
as far as I can remember outside
Foul
of damn or
language.
hell.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway.
Well,
let's
here's
talk-
the thing, though, is that I don't know if either of you watched Battlestar Galactica, but didn't they create like their own like slew of like curse words.
They did.
Like frack and this
Frack
and that.
and yeah,
all that,
right, exactly. Because it's a different reality.
I mean, they did it in SpongeBob.
They did it in Serenity too. Actually, Serenity is technically still the world of Earth, but it happens like, centuries later, I guess.
Yeah.
And so they come up with just new curse words. So, I don't know. I don't want to dwell on this on too long. I've been dwelling on this too long. I'm sorry, but
We do have a couple people commenting. That,
yeah,
Oh,
please,
boy.
please jump in here and tell us.
Save us.
what's
Stan Diamond is saying episode 4 of Andor really opens things up. You guys will love it.
did it drop today? I only saw the first
New
Yeah.
episodes come out Wednesdays.
one. Okay, cool.
And then we have our good friend Annie checking in, saying hi, late. Phew.
What's up, Annie?
What's up, Andy?
It
How's
looks like
going?
she's watching us over on YouTube, so I'm glad that she's over there. Hopefully, it won't give her any problems.
That's it. All right, for real this time. We're gonna get to
For
comics out this
real
week.
this time.
Ashton has her pick. I have my pick, and we'll show you some gems of the month on top of that. Let's go. Man, we ate up 20 minutes.
Whoopsie.
Whoops. Sorry, guys. You know what? You get into these nerdy discussions. That's what's going to
Got a lot
happen.
of hot takes.
Ashton, you want to go first this week?
Spiciest takes. I do.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, so my pick this week is Human Remains from Vault Comics. Peter Milligan's writing. Sally
right.
Catrino is doing the art. I picked this. So it is similar to the kinds of things I always pick. In that it is a dystopian hellscape. You guys know I love those.
All right.
So it takes place on Earth, and by my understanding, it's just like a present day Earth. It's not like super futuristic or anything.
Okay.
But Earth's being invaded by these alien monsters that hunt down humans based on their emotions. So like if you have an emotional output, that's how they figure out that it's you, right? Like that's how they differentiate between you being a robot or another form of AI or just like any other animal.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So they're hunting people by emotion and murdering them.
Okay.
So the central characters then are like a star-crossed lovers that are trying to like, be together and get married, and they're trying to figure out like how can you fall in love when you exist in a world where love can't exist, because being in love means life or death. I love all of these stories that are character-driven stories. Excuse me. So I think it'll be an interesting take on like what makes a human, how much of a human can you strip away and still be a human, like the extent of human bravery, and of course everybody's favorite theme, the power of love.
The power of love. Huey Newton was right. There
Yeah.
you go. Okay, cool. I'm a big fan of Peter Milligan. I think I've suggested his books like about 3 or 4 times in the last 2 months. So
Well, we're at it again.
Well, we're at it again. So welcome to the club. How about
Great,
that?
I accept.
My pick this week actually is something from Todd McFarlane, something old school from Todd McFarlane, the Spider-Man Artist Edition. So, McFarlane did really forever change the visual interpretation of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Like that is his biggest, I will say that's his biggest claim to fame, is he put a visual stamp on that character that was imitated endlessly after he was on it, and still is to this day in some regard. People up until that point had largely adhered to the Steve Ditko standard of what Spider-Man is. And McFarlane came in and he gave the character, okay, so I'll give you an example, right? Visual dexterity, right? That's the best way I could put it.
Okay.
So have you ever tried to kill a spider? And then you hit it with your shoe and it pops back up and it just starts crawling around and running off.
it's-
And then
it's
try to
rude.
hit it again. And it's very agile and stuff like that.
Yeah.
McFarlane brought that to the character in terms of how he stands, how he swings, how he fights. Like he's just more of a rubbery figure, you know what I mean? And so I always thought that was really cool, that elasticity of Spider-Man or whatever you want to call it. And so he also made the eyes bigger, and he also made the webbing a little gross, which I also thought was actually
Which is fair.
Which I think is actually a nice take as well. And he did this for the entire world of Spider-Man. And so this is an IDW Artist Edition that shows you McFarlane's elaborate line work. So the colors are stripped away. They went ahead and scanned his hand-drawn art so you could really get into the nuances of it. And on top of that, the bubbles are still in place. So it's kind of like it's really an education on how comics were drawn, because of course comics aren't drawn like this anymore, right? They're all drawn digitally, but just the level of, I swear, anytime you look at how comics used to be made and compared to now, and it's not shade to digital artists now at all, right?
Yeah.
But you really kind of like, man, that is a lot of work.
It seems like it.
It's painstaking work. And so this is one of these things where with the artist edition where you really get to appreciate that. Yeah, I just have always loved these. You really get to explore the craft and it's just, just stripped away to kind of see what goes into making your favorite comic books. And this is part of course, McFarlane's classic run of Spider-Man. So you're getting a lot of like the Vulture and Sandman and Venom and like Dr. Octopus. You're getting a lot of like great interpretations of classic characters on top of that. It's $100+. I think it's $150, I believe. But
probably worth every penny.
it's a tome. It's a tome. It's like at this point, it's like historical text.
That's a great point.
or historical art, I should say.
I mean, if it's had that much of a lasting impact, then it absolutely is.
Exactly. So check that out. It's the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition. I also just want to point out there's a book called Booty Royale from Ghost Ship.
Okay, I saw that
You
too.
saw that? I just had to point that out because
They have no chill.
they have no chill. Ghost Ship will go there. So that's a thing as well if you're interested. Just letting you know. But anyway, I'm glad you saw that too because I was like, am I the only one seeing it?
Nope.
Yeah, Johnny, did you just look it up?
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't do it on a work computer.
don't do it.
Whoa.
Don't do what Johnny did and look it up on a work computer. It's not gonna. No bueno. No bueno.
Well, it's been fun working here.
Also, shout out to your Dunkin' Donuts Yoda, Baby Yoda shirt.
Wait, I'm gonna move.
Is this official? Is this officially licensed product?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I was about to say.
My dad found this shirt somewhere, and he knows I love both Dunkin' Donuts and Baby Yoda,
Here you go.
and the color pink. So he got it for me.
Okay.
Also, this is my entry for our social swamp later, which is tell us you're a nerd without telling us you're a nerd.
Oh, I like that. I like that very much. All right, we're gonna get to that for sure.
Couple more comments.
Couple more comments. What we got in the comment section, fam?
D. Brad Gibson saying Dank Farrik is used like a curse phrase in Mandalorian and Boba Fett.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, you're just gonna drop an S-bomb?
I feel like
I just don't think it's. I feel. I don't know. There's a couple of things going on here. Like, part of it's like, okay, admittedly, the sanctity of Star Wars, which I've already said doesn't exist anymore in my heart anyway.
oh my God, who hurt you?
Star Wars hurt
Was
me,
it Kathleen
Ashton.
Kennedy?
It was Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah,
Ashton.
same.
But also, I'm just sort of like, I don't know. When the Marvel characters curse, I get it. I don't know.
Yeah, they're in like New York City.
They're in New York City. Like most of them were born in New York City. Like all of them have like some sort of like mental instability going for them in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, they're all mentally ill.
They're all kind of off. But the Star Wars characters, I'm like, they live in another galaxy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I'm very split about this because on the one hand I'm like it's not that deep.
No,
but
it
on
is.
the
It
other
is not.
on the other hand I'm like if you have already come up with words that mean that same thing.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you just use that
Right,
word?
that's all I'm saying. Like, I like legit. Like, I mean, I jokingly use Bantha-Poodoo just as an insult in casual
good
conversation.
insult.
So I'm just sort of like, what's the use of the S-bomb in the third episode of Andor? Anyway, that's me submitting my entry for tell us you're a nerd without telling us you're a nerd.
Really. I'm gonna watch these. I'll be caught up by this time next week, and we can revisit this.
All right.
As an asinine arguments, maybe.
Okay. All right. I mean, I might get through all of it this week, but we'll see. I might get my entire asinine argument out this week, but we'll see. Anyway, the October previews catalog is in comic shops this week. Actually, it was in comic shops last week, and orders are due October 18th, so make sure you get those in. But in the meantime, here are some of the gems of the month of books available in the October previews. And when we come back, I'll tell you a little bit more about them. Check it out.
Hey, Mia here, and I'm hanging out with the October Previews catalog. What's available this month? Here's a few must-haves to keep an eye on. sure to pick up a copy of this month's previews catalog to see all the amazing pop culture goodies that you can pre-order at your friendly local comic shop.
All right. Sorry if we're all over the place this week, guys. I do want to bring up one more thing about this.
I'm ready.
We were talking about this off camera. Ashton was asking me, does it happen at a pivotal moment in the story? I mean, yes, it does. I think I mentioned that earlier. But the other thing I realized that bugs me about it is just sort of like it feels a little edgelord. Even though the S-bomb is like not that edgy.
Right? No, it's pretty casual.
It's pretty casual. Like it feels a little edgelord. And you pointed out, you were like, what did you say? You said,
yeah, if it's being used at a point of like emotional weight to like emphasize the turning point, that it is probably better off using a word we already have that emotional weight attached to, and it would be more impactful than just using a random word that's part of the universe.
Right. And I mean,
it doesn't have the same punch if you just like say a random phrase.
A random phrase, right? And I can see like poodoo being like not really carrying the weight.
Right. It's a very funny word.
But you also pointed out when I said it felt a little edgelord, you were like, oh, you mean like we have our own streaming service so we can do whatever we want? And I was like, yeah, a little bit. There was a little bit of that. Anyway.
You're allowed to do that, Disney, but like, you know, keep it together.
It's Star Wars.
Rein it in.
Just a little bit. Anyway, news.
Never
Got
mind,
comments.
not news.
Comments. Mystical Green Beanie, you gotta pay the Todd toll.
You got to pay the Todd toll. I don't even know what that means. We're gonna have to ban Mystical Green Beanie.
Todd toll.
I feel like that. Like every time he comments, I feel like he's saying something mildly inappropriate that
The
we
fact
don't.
that it's both capitalized tells me that's like a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing apparently. I don't know what that is.
And he's saying that she kept falling asleep during the first episode of Andor.
Oh.
It is a little sleepy. It is. But I mean, it's only like 30 minutes.
I don't mind a slow burn, so I don't think I'll have a problem with it.
Yeah. Like it was. Shows like I think the first episode was like 38 minutes long, so it was kind of
Okay, that's a quick
you kind
one.
of burn through it. And like I don't think any of the episodes are more than 40 minutes.
Okay.
So there you go. News. You want to do some news?
News. Is it news time now, Johnny?
I'll allow it.
Okay, Johnny will allow it. Let's do some news.
News from inside the holodeck.
I was really worried he was going to make a reference to like Star Wars poo.
Tarvis Poo. That was a missed opportunity, actually. I got to point that out.
Okay. First up, The Walking Dead Deluxe Comics. They're debuting a connecting variant cover from superstar artist Tula Lote. So, as a refresher, The Walking Dead Deluxe comic book series is The Walking Dead story. So the original first story from Robert Kirkman republished in full color because it was black and white the first time through. So they're revisiting it and giving everything kind of more dimension with the color. So kicking off on their next arc, which will be issues number 49 through 54,
That's cool looking, actually.
the covers of each of those issues will create this giant, connecting image that features Rick, Carl, Lori, Michonne, Glenn, and Andrea, all in different action shots. They are variant covers. They're not the cover A, so if you want to get your hands on these, make sure you mention that to your local comic shop when you go to pre-order your copy, that you want this version. I almost said these versions.
These versions.
That would have worked too. Okay. Yeah, make sure you point that out because they're not the cover A.
Okay.
And the other thing that I think is interesting, if you're familiar kind of with the story here, this set of issues 49 to 54 is what happens after the group gets pushed out of the prison and everything happens with the governor and they all have to go in different directions.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
So if you're interested in having those things, this is the time to do it. They're coming out October 19th. So actually I misspoke. You can't pre-order them anymore.
No.
It is what it is.
Well, I mean, you can still let your comic shop know which one you want.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I imagine that. I mean, it's very popular. It's still selling well.
still selling
so
well, right,
I'm sure
yeah.
they'll have all of the options available for you to get your hands on.
Absolutely. What else we got?
One Piece is
Yeah.
doing a thing, a whole thing. All right, so a limited edition single volume of the long-running manga One Piece is being billed as the longest book in existence. Here's what it looks like. It's 21,450 pages, and it costs approximately $1,700 US.
Okay.
So the book itself isn't credited to the original series creator Ichiro Oda, who is the writer and artist behind One Piece. It's being billed as a work from, I don't know how to say his name. I'm going to ruin it. I don't know how to say his name.
This guy.
I'm rude.
Johnny, highlight his name.
Yeah, help me out, Johnny. I'm so sorry. I don't want to, I'd rather not botch it. So that's the series
That's
creator.
the creator. And well, his name is actually on the side of the box. The guy who
Yeah.
actually put this together, Elon. I'm gonna say Elon Monowash. Monowash.
All right.
Sure.
Okay, so he's the credited artist on this because it's being billed as a sculpture and not a book.
Right, like it's
So-
an art piece.
Right, it's an art piece.
yeah,
It's not readable. You can't open it up and look at the content. Like, you can't read the pages. So I guess the argument there is, like, since you can't read the content, then it's not a copyright issue.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Huh. Okay.
And so the whole idea behind this is it's supposed to, be an art piece that comments on how comics exist as a commodity now, and like make a commentary on their duality and their use value for readers versus their like exchange value or collection value for collectors.
Interesting. Huh. So I'm looking at this thing here. It says that CGC is kind of interested in doing something with this.
I bet they are.
Yeah, apparently wanted to highlight the way JBE also described comics as dual objects having a use value for readers and an exchange value for collectors, and creating a book you cannot read. Monosh. Okay. Apparently wanted to highlight the way comics exist as both commodity and leisure, like you said. It's a theory that the comics industry has already embraced. One company, CGC, offers a service that, okay, all right. They're just saying that this is similar, this is in line with what CGC actively does.
Right.
So interesting. I mean, that is valid, right? I mean, technically you can't read a CGC book once you slab it.
No.
Right? So I guess this, in that regard, it's not that different.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, when Johnny and I were talking about this earlier, we were kind of going like, I was like, well, you can't read it. And Johnny was kind of like, what?
No, it's funny that you
Right.
say that, because I had the same reaction when I read the article. It's like, oh, you can't read it? Like, why would I want a book I can't read? But that's absolutely what CGC is too.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, this is not something that's being mass manufactured, right?
Right.
It's just this one item.
Right.
This one piece of one piece. One piece.
Yeah. Also, the art piece is named
It is the
One
One Piece.
It is the one piece.
Yeah, because it's named One Piece.
And you know what? The funny thing is, if we take it a step further, it's the One Piece wearing a one piece.
Johnny, go home!
But if we took it a step further, it'd be One Piece wearing a one piece, reading the One Piece. I'll see myself out there.
Yeah, yes, that's it. No more show.
Go do a lap around the building and come back.
Oh God, I think One Piece needs to wax a little bit. Anyway, it is interesting. It's interesting because it is like it's an art piece. Like that was the best way I explained it to him. It's a piece of art, and I could see if like you were somebody who's actually read One Piece and already owns the One Piece volumes, that you would want to buy this and have it displayed somewhere. I could kind of get that.
Especially if it's got like what it looked like, it has all the pages, the sides of the pages are printed down the edge, so that it creates an image. That would be a cool collector's piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So just interesting. Interesting. Very different. Very different. I wanted to throw out something here for the news. Actually, two things. I saw this randomly in the middle of the night last week on Twitter, which is usually never a good thing.
Middle of the night on Twitter, not a place you want to be.
We talk about missed opportunities, right? In regards to the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2. You can add this to the list. This sequence that was cut from the movie. Like, have you seen this?
Oh, I have. It's insane.
This is nuts. So this is actually the stunt test for this sequence of Scarlet Witch, Wanda, taking out the sorcerers of Carmitage.
Crazy.
And so there's a scene where she takes them out in the film, but this is way bloodier and
way cooler.
And very creative and very Sam Raimi with the one shot. And I get why I didn't make the movie. Like, look at this.
So cool.
I get why I didn't make the movie.
She went all Vecna on that guy.
She would. She did. She totally did. Like,
It just makes her so much more powerful.
It does. Like, it's very Mortal Kombat. And you know what's really, you know what's really interesting that you say that? Because in the movie they kind of opt for these more grand gestures of magic.
Yeah.
You know, but I do think that's a very valid point. I've kind of felt this way before about like CGI versus stunt work, right? Like, if you get a character on the ground and they fight it out, it's actually more impressive.
It is.
Than having like a big special effects thing. Like, you know what I mean? So, to your point, I think that's very accurate. Of course, the reason it was covered in the movie is Doctor Strange 2 is PG-13. right? And that clearly you can't show someone getting like folded into like having their legs and arms folded until they explode in a PG-13 movie.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I'm typically I'm not one of those people that's like, I need Wolverine to be rated R, I need this to be rated. I don't care about that stuff, right? In this particular instance, I'm like, I just wish there was a way for them to have gotten away with this, to put that in the film.
You're telling me in a PG-13 movie you get one F-bomb, but you can't put that in a PG-13 movie?
Well, that see, here's the thing. That's the whole conversation, right? Because there's actually a really great documentary. This film is not rated, I think it's called, where they talk about how sexual depictions in movies get you a rated R, gets you an R rating, but violence doesn't. You know what I mean? And PG-13, then you get a PG-13, and just how off kilter that whole dynamic is about what can and cannot. Is and is not allowed to be a rated R film.
Yeah.
So it's just a little dicey, and actually they get into some real what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of backdoor deal Hollywood stuff when they talk about that stuff. Yeah.
Saucy.
So yeah, just really interesting. But that scene, I just like, man, I really wish there was a way for them to have just gotten around that.
I would love, I just am all for like really like strong, badass female heroes, and like, I think for me, a lot of what made Black Widow so great was the fighting, and I would have loved to have seen that from Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I think, it's interesting too, because I mean, in comics they kind of imply that like, okay, yeah, she has her hex power, she can do magic. Captain America taught her how to fight. Like, that's kind of like part of the deal. And so like, because she learned these things from Hawkeye and Captain America, she's actually can take people down if she needs to. So I don't know, it's just really cool and kind of a missed opportunity. I get why, but it's just sort of like, damn, that's awesome.
It is.
Annie is advocating for more sex and violence.
Yes, you got it.
Respect.
We'll do that.
We'll do that too.
Let's see. Stan Diamond is saying One Piece can't read the One Piece in a One Piece because you can't read the One Piece.
He got you there, Johnny.
There you go. So the first half of the show is going to be like there's a running commentary about Andor, and the second half of the show is just going to be one long One Piece joke. Johnny, that is funny.
Don't encourage him, Ubaldo, and you too, Stan. No, he does not need that.
He doesn't need it. We need Johnny's confidence to be sapped at all times. All right. The other news bit that I thought was actually pretty interesting: the AI bots have struck again. So James Earl Jones, and this is coming from Vanity Fair, James Earl Jones, the iconic voice of Star Wars' Darth Vader, signed over the character's voice rights after 45 years because he's retiring the role. So I'm actually take this back. Vanity Fair did originally publish the article. This is the CBR article, I believe. But according to Vanity Fair, Jones had signed the voice rights to his character Darth Vader over to Lucasfilm and Respeecher. The latter is a Ukrainian company that uses archival recordings and an AI program to create new dialogue with the voices of performers who have either aged out their roles or have passed away. This method was recently used to recreate the voice of young Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, for the Book of Boba Fett, and to mimic Vader's voice, which Jones has now aged out of for his scenes in Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is wild to me. It's because I remember a few years ago they de-aged Jeff Bridges in Tron, and Tron Legacy, and everybody was like, it looks fake, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But now we've gotten so far beyond that. And that was just in like the last 12 years.
Yeah, I mean, they did this with Val Kilmer's voice in Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick, right, exactly. So between the combination of de-aging people's voices and de-aging actual physical actors, even the ones that have passed away, as we saw with Carrie Fisher, right? We're in a wild time, man.
We're in a weird gray area.
We are.
So I have to say, like, guys, I'm a well-known robot disliker. Okay, shouldn't get that on the record again for like the 500th
Say that on YouTube; they'll come after you.
Look, I'm very nice to my Alexa. Her and I are gonna be buddies in the robot takeover. I'm a well-known robot disliker. However, I think I'm not mad at it in this instance.
I mean, I can understand actually, my big question for this. I wouldn't be mad about it unless I felt like his family, if James Earl Jones passes away, does this just mean that Disney just owns the voice of James Earl Jones for forever?
Well, yeah, that's something I would be interested in knowing is like, does it only extend as far as like Darth Vader's dialogue or like use in Star Wars movies, or like, do they own his voice
Right,
forever.
his voice forever. That's kind of strange, right?
Also, I mean, he's still alive, so and has his faculties about him. I have to believe that he wouldn't sign something that was ridiculous like that.
Yeah, like I would hope that like every time he uses his voice, he gets paid.
Oh, I
And
would
that
think
when he
so.
passes away, if and when, well, of course,
Like
when he-
royalties.
When he, exactly, it would be like royalties. When he passes away, his estate or
Right.
something gets paid for that, for using the voice of Darth Vader, because that's not like a small thing. Darth Vader's
No.
a huge character. So yeah, very interesting, very weird, and I just that kind of blew me away. But like I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now. You know, future is now. Cyberpunk is now.
I
It's all
have to
happening.
believe that there's like a. Okay, so the examples that this has been used for, at least that we've come up with just now, like with Val Kilmer and Leia, and like they're characters that are. Like how I didn't even say the actress name. Like Leia,
You're right,
she
right.
is Leia.
I mean that's kind of how it works, though, right?
So these are characters that are like irreplaceable.
Yeah,
You
right.
can't recast them. And they did it with Luke in Mandalorian.
Right, yeah.
Can't recast them. It's not possible. There would be a meltdown. There would be mutiny. So to some extent, like you have to.
Yeah,
You get
right,
cornered into making this decision. So with that said, I have to believe that there's certain characters where you're going to be forced to do it, and other times where it's just not necessary. I just don't see a total like AI takeover.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it's interesting. I'm not looking at this the same way I look at the advanced robotic attack dogs in the military or something like that.
Yeah.
This is just more of like, I mean, I can see some problematic like aspects of this, but
Yeah.
it's also that's really fascinating, kind of cool.
It's
You know?
definitely fascinating.
Yeah, right.
I don't see Hollywood going the way of like casting things via AI or like making entire films with AI actors.
Well, I mean, what's Pixar though?
But I mean like physical actors that portions of them have been AI.
Right, like actual real life actors being put into. Yeah, that's fair. It's just interesting. I guess is the best way I could take it. But yeah, you guys let us know what you think in the comments. I was kind of blown away by that when I saw that, and like and at first it made the hair on my neck stand up. I was like, ooh, but then,
Well, I mean,
but then I read more about it, and I was like, well, this is kind of interesting though.
I'm glad they took. This is going to be a little morbid. I'm glad they took care of it now because
Yeah,
I had this
right.
conversation with my mom recently, actually, about like what happens to Darth Vader when he dies. I mean, James Earl Jones is 91.
Right? Yeah.
So it's like, is he just gone? Do you have to repurpose the lines he's already recorded? Like, where do you go from here?
Right.
So
And that character in particular is just sort of like you need that voice.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah, really interesting. Really interesting. All right, so this week's trailer, we got to get through the show. We're 13. We're down to 13 minutes. We've gone on so many tangents this week. This week's trailer, Marvel Voices. Comunidad, right? So I neglected to point out on the show that it is Hispanic Heritage Month. It started mid-September. It goes until mid-October. You guys can definitely expect more coverage of that on PREVIEWsworld.com in the coming weeks, or what's left of October, I should say. But check this out. Marvel Voices, celebrating the Hispanic characters and their long line of characters. Check it out. Yeah, I do appreciate Marvel taking the time to spotlight their characters. Their characters have like very specific ethnic backgrounds, or also even like certain sexual backgrounds, because they also do stuff for like Pride Month and stuff like that.
Yes.
And also highlighting the creators that have present and past that have like spent time with these characters or have written for them and whatnot. I just think it's a really good thing that they've been doing with the Marvel Voices stuff. So check that out. That's in comic shops today, actually.
Nice.
So that drops at your local comic shop this week. So, all right, I'm going to circle back to the mermaid thing real quick.
Oh, yay!
Because you saw the shark, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, not the
yeah.
pole yet, Johnny. So you saw the shark in Namor. That's Namor, the same submariner. And she kind of touched him on the chest, and I was like, this is how you try to figure out. Now you have to figure out, is it going to be eggs or is it going to be a living human?
How are we going to procreate?
How is that going to work out?
Is it going to be an egg that hatches a human? Like, hard to say.
Yeah, right. Like here for the sexy shark splash page or whatever that was. All right, let's get into some social swamp.
Poop out a bunch of eggs.
Oh, boy. All right, let's. Oh no. Oh god. Okay.
Okay, we're back. All right.
I told you the holodeck was on the fritz.
It is.
It's
Tell
on
me
the
about
fritz.
it.
That's fair.
We are struggling greatly.
We are struggling greatly this episode.
This week's Social Swamp is an oldie but a goodie, one of our favorites we come back
Yes.
to time and time again. We want you to tell us you're a nerd without telling us you're a nerd. So drop a pic of your collection, give us a quote, show us some of your favorite clothes that have your nerd stuff on it, whatever it is, and show us your nerd creds. So let's see what you guys had to say. Ubaldo said, few of my coffee mug collection. I don't know why I can't read today. Oh, that one's AT-ATs.
It is.
John Johnson says, freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
Is that no? That's definitely not Isaac Asimov. What is that from? You know what, guys? Let us know in the chat. I don't know what that's from.
Help! Help!
Not sure what that
Guys,
is.
I have a cold and I drank a bunch of Dayquil before I came here, so I don't know how helpful I'm going to be in sorting any of this out.
It's fine. I mean, like, I was actually going to say, like, Ashton's on Dayquil. Troy has gotten no sleep. It's just that type of show, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
That's Optimus Prime.
Oh.
A robot said that?
Sounds like we need to go back to the Ukrainian, Ukrainian company that uses archival recordings.
Questionable. Matt Pool 138 says, Ka is a wheel.
That's another one I don't know.
I don't know that one either.
Yeah, what is that?
As soon as I started reading that, I thought for sure I was going to get like nerd checked by one of you guys for pronouncing it wrong.
So I looked this up, and it says this is from Robin Firth, who wrote the Stephen King's The Dark Tower, The Complete Concordance.
That's very nerdy, Matt.
It says Ka is a wheel. Its one purpose is to turn. The spin of Ka always brings us back to the same place.
Okay.
To face and reface our mistakes and defeats until we can learn from them. When we learn from the past, the wheel continues to move forward towards growth and evolution. When we don't, the wheel spins backward and we are given another chance. If once more we squander the opportunity, the wheel continues its rotation towards de-evolution or destruction.
Well, now the question is, what is Ka?
Ka's a wheel.
Ka's a wheel.
Ka's a wheel. Okay, all right. Never mind.
I love when we ask this question and people give us answers that are so nerdy and obscure, even we don't know what
we
they're
don't
from.
even know what they are, right? Yeah. Admittedly, I'm out of the loop on Dark Tower stuff.
All right, Bruce dropped us a pic. This looks like it's from inside a comic shop, too.
It does, actually, and that's Robbie the Robot. Very cool.
Wait, what is that? Lost? No, that's not Lost in Space, is it?
It's Lost in Space.
It is Lost in Space, the original series.
The original series, yeah, from the 60s.
All right.
Randy. Oh, cool. Randy has a wallet inspired by the comic.
Nice.
That's neat.
I see these all the time in stores.
I think
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And that is it.
That is it. All right, cool. Well, thanks for your submission, guys. Nash, you want to remind people real quick what your shirt represents?
Yes, this is my submission for tell us you're a nerd without telling us you're a nerd. It's Baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever you want to call him, and he's drinking coffee. Somehow it makes perfect sense that like he would drink coffee.
He would drink coffee, right? Yeah,
right, because he's like eating macaroons in space or whatever.
Right. I mean, actually, I feel like coffee and space macaroons go together.
Right.
So there you go.
Or calf.
Calf, right. Calf, but you can't say anyway.
Oop.
Anyway.
Annie is coming in with one. She says she wears Godzilla slippers.
Oh,
I
hey.
love that.
Nice.
Take a picture and drop it on the Free Comic Book Day page, Annie.
Yeah, please do.
She also says to check out La Muerta by Coffin Comics. Beautiful Joel Gomez artistry.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I'm familiar
okay.
with that one.
Yeah.
It's one of Brian Polito's things, right?
Yep.
Gotcha. Had to reclaim my nerd credit a little bit.
Yeah.
Even in the smallest way after we didn't recognize Dark Tower. I have two things, not just the Dark Tower thing. Excuse me. You want to do this week's poll?
Oh my gosh, yes.
All right.
Okay, so this week's poll, guys, it's National Drink Beer Day, which I didn't realize was a thing, but I'm with it. So we asked you guys, of these various pop culture characters, icons, if you will, which one are you down to have a brewski with? The choices are Wolverine, Lobo, Hellboy, or Stone Cold.
I'm going to tell you right now, me is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, 100%. I saw these choices and I was like, if anyone's picking anyone else but Stone Cold, you're wrong. Also, my requirement for drinking beers with Stone Cold is they can only be shotgunned and then crushed in your head afterwards.
You know what? Yes, I'm going to co-sign that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you ever listened to his podcast?
No.
Oh my God.
Is it good?
Oh my God. It is so hilarious because that's just really him. Like, he's not pretending when he's on camera. Like, because I know during the Attitude Era, everybody's like, oh, we decided to stop doing characters and let them just be themselves. And I'm like, there's no way that Stone Cold Steve Austin is actually Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's no way that The Rock is and of course now we know that The Rock is kind of really The Rock.
Right.
But Stone Cold Steve Austin is 100% Stone Cold Steve Austin in real life.
That's amazing.
It's amazing, and like it makes for very entertaining podcasts.
I'm totally gonna listen to that. 100%.
100%. So we're on board Stone Cold Steve Austin. Johnny, what's your preference?
I don't have. I'm not a wrestling fan.
Well, it doesn't have to be Stone Cold. Then it can be one of the other three.
Well, you're both agreeing on Stone Cold Steve Austin, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay,
I'm gonna go with your because you're outruling me. Whatever I vote for.
Your life is better for that, I think. Sorry, what were people saying?
Wolverine.
Lame.
All right. I mean, I get it. Also, you know what? Wolverine, the Deadpool trailer was just yesterday. He's in the conversation right now. Like, I get it.
But just Stone Cold used to shotgun a beer and then pin somebody. Like, what do you mean?
Another one we forgot to mention, we talked about adding She-Hulk to this because the new show has kind of explored the idea that she can't get drunk. Or she can't get hangovers, I should say.
Nice. That's a nice side perk.
That's a nice side perk. That's exactly how she puts it on the show, too. But yeah, thanks for the poll, guys. Thanks for answering our question. We'll continue those every single week. This week was on me and Johnny because Ashton was out sick. So we're looking forward to Ashton's crazy hot takes next week.
Come up with another banger for you guys.
Another banger. What is this week's comic shop shout out?
This week's comic shop shout out is Four Colors Fantasy in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They deserve appreciation. Shout out comes from Red Inked Panda. So we'll show you some images inside of Four Color Fantasies at the end of the show during the credits roll, so stay tuned. You can check out the inside of their shop. If you want us to shout out your local comic book shop on the show, find us on social media, tag your shop. If they don't have a handle, just leave their name, and use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS. We'll find your local comic book shop, shout them out on the show, and give them some love.
All right, cool. I love, every time, whenever I hear Cucamonga, I hear Bugs Bunny say it in my head.
I think of Bring It On.
Is that a thing on Bring It On?
The cheerleading movie.
Are they from Cucamonga?
No, there's just a team that's from Rancho Cucamonga, and that was the first time I ever heard it as a child, and I was like, that's not a real place.
That's not a real place. It is, of course it is. Absolutely. Real quick, here's a reminder to head over to PREVIEWsworld.com because I have some fun articles going out to you guys for you guys to read this week. Johnny, can you remind me what those fun articles are?
Nice. So fun, we forgot.
Okay, yeah, so, I write a lot during the week. Actually, I had to do more articles this week than normal, so now I'm like, which ones did we agree on?
They all bleed together.
They kind of started to breathe together a little bit. I do a series of articles called Get Graphic, where I ask the artist to kind of take me inside their creative process. I was talking earlier about the McFarlane Artist Edition. This is kind of like a free version of that you can get on PREVIEWsworld every couple of weeks. I got a chance to talk with Craig CK of Ghost Agents. So the interesting thing about Craig is he is actually a tattoo artist who's has deviated just a little bit. He owns a couple of chains actually, tattoo shops, but he's deviated into comics to do these Ghost Agent books. And you can kind of see I feel like once he told me that, I kind of could see the tattoo art influence on him.
Definitely.
On his work. But yeah, that's a really cool one. And also on our website this week we have, Johnny, That's right, Gatsby. There you go. Right. I think we've talked quite a bit on the show about how much we enjoy the story of Great Gatsby.
Yes, we have.
And I got a chance. It just so happens that AWA is doing a modern retelling of Gatsby. That is, it's interesting because it's emphasis on the internet, social media, and it's a thriller.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, which I could kind of see that working out because there's a whole thing with a dead body in Gatsby in the actual story itself.
Yeah, at the very end.
At the very end, right? So I mean, maybe they move it up a little bit. I don't know, but I'm just speculating.
I'd be interested to see what it's about for sure. That got my attention.
Absolutely. Also, if you can scroll down, Johnny, real quick.
Is that cover
Right
an Instagram
there?
post?
I love this cover. Yeah, I love this cover. But also the cover, there's two covers that are like Instagram posts.
That's cool.
Because
Sorry,
again,
I totally undermined your thing with my thing.
No, it's fine. I mean, and I love that because it's emphasizing the social media aspect of it, which I could totally see fitting into this story.
Absolutely.
Also, a very multicultural cast, and on top of that, an LGBTQ plus component to it as well. Jeremy Holt and Felipe Cunha. I get to talk to them a little bit about this new series. It's kind of a little bit different for AWA because they typically do more genre-y stuff.
Yes,
and this is definitely a character drama, at least in terms of how I know Great Gatsby. Maybe they have something different for us in store. We'll see. But all right, it is 3 o'clock. We pushed this to the limits. This episode is bursting at the seams with tangents, and I apologize for that. But you guys kind of love that anyway. So many side quests. This
has been really long and windy.
It has. But I appreciate you guys for joining us for PREVIEWsworld Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
And we will see all of you, every last one of you, at the spinner rack. Catch you later. Come on.
Be sure to pick up a copy of this month's Previews catalog to see all the amazing pop culture goodies that you can pre-order at your friendly local comic shop.